Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm glad you could attend. I am Haley Leoka with Micro D, and today we're going to present a short webinar on gaining retail sales with e-commerce and local SEO. And this presentation is going to cover a pretty large range for a knowledge base from basic to more advanced. So if it's something that we're starting out with that might be a little basic, hang with us. We'll cover some more advanced things later down the line. We have web expert Damian Pierce and conversion rate optimization pro Ken Widger on the line. You may have met with them or seen them last week at the Furniture First Symposium. So they may be new to you, or you may have already spoken with them, in which case they've got some more information to share. If you have questions as they're going through this, I encourage you to use the GoToWebinar chat panel, ask those questions, and we can follow up at the end and we'll go through them. And the other thing is as we're going through this, we're going to be putting it out there for a free SEO audit. So as you're listening, feel free to type your website URL into that chat window as well, and we'll follow back up at the end with later with an email to you with how your audit does. So with that, let's turn it over to Damian to get us started on the website and e-commerce platform portion of this presentation.
Thanks, Haley. This is Damian Pierce, and I'm here with Ken Widger.
Hello, everyone.
I'm going to drive the bus for the first part of the webinar, and then I'm going to turn it over to Ken, and he will finish up. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and get started. So what are some things we're going to learn today? Based on a lot of conversations I've had over the past 4 to 5 years with a lot of retailers, I'd like to touch on some common e-commerce misconceptions and some facts. I'm going to talk about something people don't think about, and we're going to call it a level 2.5 website. We'll explain that. And then there'll be some things in different slides here. It may be relevant to you. You may already be doing some of it, but some easy improvements the average retailer can do today to take a step towards e-commerce or elements of e-commerce. So most people think about 3 levels of websites. Okay, there's a brochure website, what every Micro D customer is, which is at least a level 2 digital catalog driven website. And then we're going to touch on where people think they have to be, which is a level 3 website, full-blown digital catalog and e-commerce. So level 1. A lot of you were there before you became potentially a Micro D or another provider's, digital content provider's client. It's a website, maybe on WordPress or Wix, something simple as a homepage. Maybe it's advanced enough to have the brands that you carry, maybe even the ability to link away from the site to say, go to a manufacturer site to view brands. You leave your website. Information like about us, phone number, address, a few social media buttons and link outs. This is basically an online business card. So that's going to be a level 1.
So you're not showing products on this one?
Exactly. Right.
Okay.
No product on this website.
All right. It's kind of an online flyer.
So then there's a level 2. So you come to Micro D or, again, a similar provider. We provide digital catalogs for your website, data feeds to the website. You have thousands of vendor-supported products, and every single product has a content page. And this is where you get the idea of people will say the endless aisle. If you've got a 20,000 square foot showroom, you've got a little less than 20,000 square feet to show furniture. But a website has no square footage limitations. So you have the full ability to show everything, for example, from a brand, even though you may only carry 20 or 30 pieces. And Ken, I guess I'd ask you, I say it all the time, but speak to the idea that there's a higher credibility for a website with thousands of pages of content products.
Sure. So Google loves content. It always has, and even more so now more than ever, because it is content king, kind of the mantra. So anytime that you can take let's say at level 1, maybe a 10-page type of brochure site and turn that into now a site that has 13,000 pages with more and more content, that's always going to shine a little bit more favorably in Google's eyes for sure. So just by virtue of that alone, you know, Google is going to enjoy what they're seeing there. Sure.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you. So this is just an example for those of you that may still have a level 1 website. Here's an idea of just a standard page from some client that has a level 2 website. You'll notice the first sofa is a CR Lane, the second sofa is Huntington House, the third sofa is Craftmaster. As an example, I did not send this customer away from the website. All of the products for all the brands that this particular retailer may carry can be seen on their website. So just a little bit of visual representation there. Oftentimes people hesitate when they think about e-commerce, taking steps towards e-commerce, taking steps to price parts of their website, and in their mind, they believe they have to be aiming to be a level 3 type of website. That's a website that has, you know, hundreds of thousands of products on the website. Every single product is priced, usually has quantity, availability. It's all listed online. Every item has a checkout. You can transact in the cart on that website, give your credit card 24/7 and purchase that item. Nationwide delivery. No matter where you're at, they will deliver it within a week to your home. And then there's the idea, and again, another one I guess good for Ken, like people don't always appreciate, like for Pottery Barn or Rooms to Go, the 24-hour customer service support, you know?
Well, there's the 24/7 customer service support. For these types of the whales, the big fish in the sea, these Amazons, the Wayfarers, the Pottery Barns, these are businesses that one of the reasons they're so daunting is to the average retailer trying to be competitive is because they have dozens upon dozens of internal resources literally dedicated just to their website. You've got teams of people looking at pricing, you've got teams of people looking at the image quality. I mean, this is an advanced thing, and I can see why this is very daunting for someone who has just a product catalog saying, well, how in the world can I compete with a Pottery Barn or a Wayfair? And I think that's why the mountain seems so high, right?
So it's perfect. And so we don't want to necessarily say that this webinar is to get you to become the next Pottery Barn. That's not what we're talking about. There's this hidden level, and people don't sometimes realize it, and sometimes they're there and don't know it, that we call a 2.5 level website. Probably the vast majority of our customers are striving to be this. They have a digital catalog, but they're never going to be Rooms to Go. It's just the reality. But there are some things to know about a level 2.5. Just because you have pricing on your website does not mean that you're e-commerce. We'll get into that. Selective pricing. You don't have to price every item on the website to be effective. Not all of your manufacturers are as easy to work with respect to their pricing rules online. There's ways to work around that. And nationwide shipping is not required. You can ship local and take advantage of the opportunity in your local market and be very successful. So here's something that may interest some of you. Around 50%, I have to look at the real numbers, but around 50% of the retailers MicroD works with, it's a little over 400, have some pricing on their website. Not that the entire website is priced, there is some pricing. That's only half. And even more interesting, around 10% of our clients conduct e-commerce, have pricing, and actually have enabled a cart where they can take credit card transactions on the website. So we've got an interesting chart here. Ken, I'll let you speak to this, the chart we're looking at.
So, you know, when we look at that 10% or less of at least our clients are conducting e-commerce, you know, it's a surprisingly low number. And I think a lot of people are, again, a little intimidated by it. But to Demian's point, you don't need to have a click-to-buy cart in order for your website to have an impact. What we're looking at here in terms of the graphic is it's from Google, and it doesn't include betting, by the way. But this is the last 5 years in furniture retail sales. And let's just take the middle piece here, where over the last 5 years, there's a little over $15 billion jump. And what that basically means is that the web influenced the in-store sales. I'll repeat that. So over the last 5 years, there's been a $15 billion increase in in-store sales where the website was the catalyst. The website influenced that sale to happen. And then, of course, there's the pure, up at the very top, the pure online retail. That's the click-to-buy e-commerce. But I found it very interesting, Damian, that to the point that less than 10% of our clients have e-commerce, that's that high, but they're still benefiting from that middle section where the web is playing a dominant role or a prominent role in their in-store sales. I thought that was pretty cool.
And so, we are going to talk about, some e-commerce, but we didn't want people to feel like if they're not doing full-blown e-commerce right this second, that they're in some way, they're the only one, or that they're in any way a failure, because just having a level 2 or a level 2.5 getting towards that, statistically is where it appears that the majority of everyone is going. Another graphic, just to kind of show you, just again, for the folks that may think, what do they mean? How can I have a website with a product and a price, but no cart where I can't buy it? Again, just as an example, here's a sofa, $24.99. I can see I can request more information. If I look at this page just under the $24.99, I can actually go to the store. It's in Jasper, Alabama. And if I look just below the description information, I can even call the store. This is a perfect 2.5 level website. If he were ready at some point to ever move towards e-commerce, he's checked all the boxes of what he should have been working his way up to. And then if he decides at some point to add the cart, he can add that module to this particular website. So just wanted to give a quick visual.
And the request more info just turns into add to cart.
Which is,
that's it.
Right.
Simple as that.
Exactly. So some things to consider for those of you who are like, well, how do I kind of start the process? Start some pricing on your website. Price the first page of key categories. Everyone would probably agree sofas is a pretty big category across most of the brick and mortar websites out there. So as an example, here's someone who has the first page. I just randomly grabbed one, living room sofas. This is a great example. Now there are 24, 27 sofas on the whole page, but pay attention to the 6 we're looking at here. I've got a white sofa, a red sofa, a green sofa, a couple of brown sofas. I have leather versus upholstered. 4 of these sofas have a price. You'll notice that 2 on the bottom row do not. My price has a range on it, anywhere from $6.99 up to $2,500. This retailer is basically telling the consumer, hey, I don't sell $100 sofas. You probably won't find an $8,000 or a $9,000 sofa on my website. But on the first page, and this would repeat itself down the first 24, 25 items, you're going to see the type of sofas, the type of brands, a general idea, and then enough of a variety that and I'll go back a slide here, you want to appeal to every possible buyer on that first page. What would you say, the first 1 to 2 pages organically?
Yeah.
It's what most average shoppers will take the time to go through?
For sure. I mean, most people pass through page 3 or 4 if they're looking. It's a no-go. Once
they get here, the person might be interested in this leather power reclining sofa, the third one in the Flex Steel. Well, then maybe they're going to go in and go a little deeper because you have the navigation features to say, well, let me look at Flex Steel. I've heard about this. What are these sofas like? Do I want this type of brown sofa, that type of brown sofa? Just like in your store, you can take advantage and merchandise these pages so that certain items show up on the first page of results and be very effective without necessarily, this particular guy has 1,800 sofas on his website. He ranks about 50. So there's easy ways to be effective without killing yourself. All manufacturers are not created equal. It's okay to show pricing on some items and not all items. There are 2 sofas here that don't have a price. For the sake of argument, let's pretend like that manufacturer doesn't allow internet pricing, let's just say. But this retailer probably knows that those 2 sofas are within the range of the other sofas on that page. Birds of a feather flock together. Just your average consumer is probably going to assume that those sofas are reasonably around the same pricing level they're seeing on the items around them. It's an easy strategy. And then they're going to request a quote anyway, because this example, this is not necessarily an e-commerce site. But you're using the pricing of the items around it to kind of help sell everything. So that's just one tactic that people can do. Something else on this page, a lot of our customers have customizable upholstery. You'll notice that the first 1, 2 items in the bottom of the red sofa, they all say price starting at. Well, instead of me trying to nail down an exact price, because these are typically items I'm going to have to customize anyway, give the consumer an idea. Well, looks like it starts at $699. I see the most expensive one on here is $2,500. If I do some of my own fabrics and options, that's probably going to be within my range. Let's take this a step further. Let's contact the store. Let's go visit. Let's look a little longer on the website. I've taken like 3 minutes to explain this slide. Now just think about your average consumer as they would look at this and begin to interact with even just the base amount of information that you could put on the first page of key categories. Ship local. I'll make this one quick and easy. Don't worry about if you're in Florida, shipping to Alaska. Usually a website will allow you to put some sort of a zip code filter in place. It's standard on our platform. I can't imagine it's not a standard across the industry. So that if you just want to ship in your state and the few counties around you within 100 miles, you simply put zip code filters in there and people can't complete either the inquiry or the e-commerce process without giving a zip code. And if they're outside of that, it restricts it and they can always contact the store and talk to you about that. You can do in-store pickup and local delivery. It's a great way to start, and a lot of people never do anything but that. So ship local. People ask me, well, what is the easiest way? If I just want to start with this. I've got an idea of pricing. I'm kind of doing that in some places. I just want to dip my toes. I want to try the cart. I want to see what this is like. What's the safest, easiest way to do? Simply put, start an online clearance center. You've got items in the store. Take a photograph of them with your phone, load them up on your website. People love the fact, if you'll notice this third item over on the first row, the hutch top, it was a 800, this is written small, but it was like, let's say $800 or $900, and now it's $50. Everybody likes the Craigslist idea of a deal. This stuff a lot of times wouldn't get seen because it's not in one of your normal catalog feeds. You'll have thousands of eyeballs that will see a clearance center, and people will go to a clearance center because it draws their attention, and they might have never come into the store. People tend to find this moves a lot of furniture, and it's a great, it's in stock, you got a great deal on it, and it's an easy way to start the e-commerce process. So for those of you looking to take that next step, try to get your feet wet, always start with a clearance or an outlet center. So in conclusion, for the first half of this, with respect to e-commerce, taking steps towards e-commerce, a level 2.5 website is an optimal level for retailers that are exploring e-commerce, want to take steps towards doing e-commerce, or do the things that lead up to doing e-commerce. Begin with some pricing. Do some merchandising on key landing, living room sofas, living room chairs, bedroom beds, dining room tape. Don't start with mirrors, okay? And then over time, build out what you want to build out with respect to merchandising the website. Again, keep it simple, focus on local shipping, and if we left you with anything, start with an online clearance center. Test your e-commerce with clearance items you have in the store, and that's going to be a really good way to get yourself started with e-commerce and moving towards e-commerce.
Awesome.
So with that, I'm going to turn the ball over to Ken.
Well, and let's see, as we spoke to folks at the conference, more and more people were asking about SEO, local SEO. They hear this as a buzzword. Debbie, I know you hear about it a lot. People asking you. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna at a very high level here, folks. We're going to, and by the way, let me just reference one thing because I'm going to try and shove 20 pounds of candy in a 4-pound bag right now. So this is going to be very high level, and for some greater detail, just about a month ago, I did a 2-part series in very explicit detail, really, about local SEO, and it was 2 30-minute. So I would invite you to go reference back to that for a greater level of detail, or you can just reach out to us and ask questions. But I'm slowly, I'm going from how do I explain local SEO in an hour, and then I had 30 minutes, and now I've got 50. So I'm slowly trying to narrow my time here, and I'm getting better at it. So real quick, what is local SEO? We'll go through, how does it work? How do I get results? And that's kind of what we're going to try and hit on today. So at the very, very basic level, everyone, when you run a Google search, of course, your search results are going to come back. the top left are your paid results. It's pay-per-click, it's Google AdWords. Those of you may have heard of NetSertive. That's all they do, and NetSertive just does that paid search. Beyond that paid search, though, below it is the map section, and then what's called, and below that, the organic section. Those are very prominently displayed sections, especially on mobile, and those, we want to make sure that you have a placement and you have exposure and visibility in those sections. So the local SEO results, the map, and then the organic follows there under. Everyone's seen that now, and you know, again, I know that there seemed to be some confusion, Demian.
Local SEO is not paid search.
It's not paid search.
That's uncommon. We found that to be a confusion.
I agree. Yeah. So how it works? So 4 key areas that impact local SEO, and a lot of people say, well, how do I show up there, right? Your site itself, the optimization of that site, directories/citations. Relax, everyone. I'll cover that in a second. Reviews, and then backlinks, which again, most people have probably heard of if you've heard of SEO. So let's start with site optimization. Again, at a tremendously high level, what Google is doing is Google has bots that are going to crawl your website every single page, every page. And it's going to look at your page content topics and themes. It's going to look at the site themes. It's going to look at videos and articles and images and content and you name it. It's going to look at everything and it's going to digest that and it's going to store that in some servers in a database. And then when someone runs a search, if it's done the right way, Google is going to reference back and say, oh, wait a second, I saw that. Okay, let me go grab it from the database and pull back the results. Now, it's just a matter. So these are the, again, I am simplifying it to a degree here that's almost embarrassing, but this is at a very high level. Google's cataloging your site, it's indexing your site, it's grabbing everything it can about the site's authority and what it's about, and then it's going to store it for future reference. Okay? Citations. Citations are essentially synonymous with business listings. And a citation is really made up of 4 primary parts: your business name, your business address, your phone number, and your website, right? Seems simple enough, and one would think. However, I would say I don't know if I've ever run an audit or a scan, and by the way, we invite you to email in, and I'm happy to run one for you if you just let us know. But we can run it. We have a tool that does scan the web, and it comes back and it allows us to see all the citations that your business has online, and it could be. Obviously the one we're seeing here right now is Google. That's your primary, right? But then everything from Facebook to Yellow Pages to Yelp and Better Business Bureau, all of these websites out there that have business directories or business names. It's amazing to me. I mean, what would you guess the level of out of 100 that I run this scan, how many come back where they're all matching accurately?
Half.
Well, that's pretty low. Almost 5% or 10% are where they're accurate across the board. No, let me reverse that for simplicity. Almost 90% of scans that I run come back, and you'd be surprised they don't match. This website has your business name as Ken's Furniture in Sofa, but Google has it just as Ken's Furniture. Oh, well, we moved our location, but we didn't update. We updated this site, but not this site. So there's all kinds of things out there. And so make sure that you go into these business directories and make sure that everything is accurate and they're all consistent across the board. By the way, if a directory that you're listing yourself on happens to offer some of these extra items, little pro tip here, such as hours, place for you to put in some pictures or videos or even promotions, by all means, do it. Google likes to see that, and it shines favorably for you. And not only is it a good user experience, but Google kind of leans that way. I guess that's the best way to say it. But leaving empty blanks is not a good thing.
So Google isn't just looking at your website; it's looking at all these directories.
So Google's out there and it looks at the website, but it's also, of course, out in the world, and it's seeing what your business listing looks like in hundreds upon hundreds of all these directories that it crawls. And yeah, if it doesn't look very good if you're out there on 10 directories and 8 of them have different addresses and phone numbers, right? So that's what a citation is, and so that's something that you can do on your own through the business listings. Let's talk about reviews and why and how. Now, many of you probably have something in place, a system in place in your stores whereby the salespeople will request or solicit a review. Many of you may have a POS system that has some automation, a level of automation, and does that for you, or some type of a follow-up, and that's great. But I would say that reviews are, I don't know, single-handedly one of the most important things that you can do because of the impact it has on the user behavior. Demian, do you look at reviews when you go to a restaurant or when you go to shop or when you?
I never don't.
You never don't look at a review. Okay, well, that's fair. That's fair.
Couple nuggets.
Yeah, yeah. And I use it all the time too. I gave the example. I bought my daughter a trampoline a little while back, and the reviews did drive my buying decision for sure. So, and I'm just one of 93% of people who say that reviews are that important. So not only are the reviews important to keep in mind to the user's buying decisions, it's important to Google. Google takes and also looks at these reviews that you have out in the world, and that also goes into play for your local SEO rank and who they deem to be worthy of putting in those top 3 spots, right? Well, where do I get reviews? Well, we're almost at a point in life where don't you get reviews? You know, again, Yelp, you've got some of the more prominent ones that you know of and that you know, Yellow Book, Angie's List, Super Pages. There's obviously the more remote ones, things that you may not be using, like shopcity.com or show me local type of thing. Those aren't necessarily household names to you, but start with the ones that you know of and just start getting people to leave their reviews for you. And couple pro tips here. Here's what Google wants to see when it comes to reviews, and here's what, if you have X and your competitor has Y, here's what these are the things that make Google put you ahead of them in terms of the rank. Your number of reviews, keywords within the review. Now, I know that sounds a little strange, but someone leaving a review for you, and I also know that you can't, this isn't always in your control, I get that, but you should know the facts. If someone person A leaves a review for you that says, this is the greatest place ever, I highly recommend it, and another person leaves a review that says, they have the best dining room furniture that you know, that we've seen in all of Charlotte. The fact that dining room furniture, maybe one of your keywords is in there, that certainly helps things. That's going to help so that when someone does type in dining room furniture, that's going to kind of float you towards the top because that keyword phrase was used in the review itself. So little tip there. A diversity of listings, meaning it's not all where all of your reviews aren't just living on Google, or they're all not just living on Facebook. They want to see that you spread it out. The authority of the listing, obviously Google and Facebook, things like that, hold more water than that showmelocal.com. Google obviously holds those in higher esteem. And then the ratings themselves. And so here's the thing, and people will say, well, I don't have a lot of ratings, but they're really good. Or my competitor has a lot more, but they're mediocre. Here's the thing. If you've got 1,000 reviews and you're a 4.1 and your competitor has 8 reviews and they're a 4.3, obviously the more reviews at a 4.1 is more impressive in the eyes of Google than the fewer. Just because you have a higher score, that volume does certainly speak volumes, as they say, right? And then how do I get it? Well, again, we talked about point of sale. Many people do just direct solicitations, an ugly word, but you know, requesting it or commenting upon it. But and email campaigns or text-based campaigns, SMS rather, you know, those are very, very popular nowadays. But the problem that most people make is that I talked to 3 people at the conference who said, my salespeople are shy. They don't want to ask for it. Well, you're going to have to tell your salespeople to just get over it. But you know, just, you're going to have to do it. That's just the way it goes. Now, last thing, and I have just a few seconds here, but backlinks, people out in the world pointing to your site are very, very important. And how do I get that? Well, you can go to partners, manufacturers, associations, nonprofits, BBB, any type of community involvement that you might do, different news outlets. Those types of websites that are pointing back to your site are pretty good. And you want to develop backlinks, people pointing back to your site, and that's going to be something. And again, and it has to be relevant, by the way, which I think is pretty important, because you want to make sure that that Google is kind of tying it in together, if you will, right? So, a quick summary, and again, I would, by all means, I would invite you to reference back to the 2-part longer version. Focus on quantity and quality of the links pointing to your site. Make sure that your business listings are accurate and consistent for your citations. Continuously audit the listings to detect any inaccuracies. So make sure that you're looking at those business listings, and then collect reviews, but try and collect them across as many platforms as you can, and don't be shy to solicit the reviews. Now it's 1:31, and I think Demian trespassed on my time, but just a bit, but that's okay. So as a reminder, shoot us an email if you'd like an SEO audit or a citation audit, business listing citation audit. We're happy to provide that. And I want to open this up at this point to perhaps give it back to Haley and see if there's any questions that may have popped up.
Thank you,
over the last 20 minutes.
Yeah, thank you. And like Ken mentioned, go ahead if you want to get a citation or an SEO audit, type in your website URL into the chat panel, and we'll follow back up via email with you on that. In the meantime, we'll hang tight for a few minutes and see what we can get as far as questions. Okay, we do have one. Demian, I think this is going to be one for you. The question is, if I put pricing on my website, won't they just shop me against my competition?
Well, people ask that a lot, and I'm like, well, they're shopping you anyway. There's nothing that keeps them out of your store with a camera. I sort of see putting some pricing on my website to speak to more people, kind of like insurance. It's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. So that would be I would say you're safer having some pricing on the website because of the person that's willing to buy versus the fear of someone that might look somewhere else.
Okay, we have another question along the lines of the e-commerce variety. It's, how do we add a cart to our website? So maybe you could just kind of talk high level, and then maybe we'll follow up more specifically with this individual to go into detail.
Sure. It's simple put. For a micro D customer, I would imagine for most providers like us, it's just a module, just some small fee, and then there's a little bit of payment processing and things we set up, tax codes and things like that. It takes like a week. It's not complicated.
Okay.
And with WooCommerce and,
right.
And WordPress. If you have a WordPress site, you can, WooCommerce, so like a plugin or an extension, if you will, that can provide that functionality too. Yeah. Yep.
Okay, a question, we have a couple coming in about backlinking. So one, can a website get backlinks from any website?
So well, technically, sure, it can, although they're not all created equal, if you will. And what I mean by that is this. The quality of of where that backlink is coming from, it plays a big role in Google's eyes. So if I have a furniture website and I have a backlink that's pointing to me from Furniture Today or something like that, the weight, if you will, or the authority of that link coming in to me is going to hold a lot more water than if I have a link from Joe's Barbecue Shack down the street. Certainly, because it's topical, it's relevant, and Google likes to see like .orgs or .edus, and I know that those aren't easy to get, but those tend to hold a little bit more water. And another, just to piggyback on that, by the way, a lot of people say, well, what if me and my friends, what if I link to him and he links to me, and we just kind of swap links? And that's something that really should try and be avoided. It's called reciprocal linking. And what it does is it's almost Google is onto you. It's almost like they look back and say, yeah, all these two people did was reference back and forth to each other. They want to see that people are linking you because your site is strong and good and it has good things to offer, not because you had a handshake agreement with someone. Make sense?
Good. We have another question on backlinks for Ken. So if a retailer has a good volume of reviews, keyword content, but the backlinks are still not ranking well, what else can they do as far as strategy?
Sure. So there's a lot of on-site optimization that I glanced over here. I would suggest let's do an SEO audit and see exactly what might be troubling Google. Because despite having, again, what you're saying is I got good reviews, everything else seems to be in place, I'm just not getting the ranking that I feel I deserve, then there might be something else sticking there that Google lets you see. Keep in mind, there's hundreds of rank factors. I mean, literally, and they're constantly changing. That's what makes the world of SEO so dynamic and interesting, at least to me. But I would say let's do an audit and we can find out where those stumbling blocks might be. And keep in mind, you might have 1,000 backlinks pointing to your site right now, and then Google next month decides they may tweak their algorithm, and that now there's only 800 because 200 just got dismissed based upon their algorithm, and you don't even know it, by the way. So it's all happening in the background. So.
Okay. Switching gears back to the website side, this is for Dimian. Websites with pricing, do they generate more qualified leads?
Yeah, they will. Inevitably, when a retailer starts to put some pricing on the website, I'll hear the following. The number of leads I'm getting has dropped, meaning the number of people that are just calling me to ask how much something is, those are going away. But the people that are reaching out to us after we have some idea of pricing on our site, they're way more qualified. They're past the hurdle of how much does it cost. And now they want to know quantity. Is it available in another color? Do you ship to this part of the city? So forth and so on. I tend to find that the retailer is happy to take fewer leads if the person is further down the buying path when they get the more qualified lead, if you will. So yeah, I would agree with that totally.
Hey, Coach, it takes it from how much is it to when can I get it? And it's a big difference.
Good. All right, so we'll hang for a few more seconds and see if anyone else has questions or if they want to type in their information. That would be perfect, and we will get with them a follow-up after this call.
It's like the Jeopardy music should be playing right now.
All right, guys. Oh, we do have another question. My site ranks very well for furniture keyword searches, but not so well on mattress keyword searches. What can they do to improve? That might also, Ken, you might want to talk on that, maybe a follow-up with them after this.
Yeah, we'll do a follow-up. I mean, it's the same soup in a different bowl. You would just need to do an expansion of your keyword and your theme and content. So, but no, I think the follow-up is appropriate if that's okay.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. If you guys have any questions, you can definitely reach out to us. Otherwise, we can make this available and you can share this with your teams later. Thank you so much for joining us, and thanks to Ken and Dimian for presenting. Have a great afternoon,
Thanks,
everyone.
See you later.
Bye-bye.